Welcome back to Season 3 of Gradcast, Real Stories from UAL, where we divulge, discuss, and even sometimes despair over life after graduation. During this episode, we'll take you through a UAL's grad personal career journey with the hopes that you'll be inspired, encouraged, or learn something new. I'm Dorinda Clark, your host for today's episode. I'm a recent graduate of Illustration and Visual Media from London College of Communication, and I'm an illustrator, mixed media artist, and practicing workshop facilitator. I'm joined today by Sam Summerskill. It will be great for you to introduce yourself, Sam.
Hello, thanks for that. I'm Sam. I've been an agent for 24 years. I studied communication design around turn of the century. The internet was a thing, but not massively useful. I used all those skills that I learned during my time as a design student to sort of end up being the weird and wonderful life that I now have as an agent. So yeah, I run an agency called B&A. We've got offices in London, Berlin, New York, LA, Portland, Australia, and in China. I run teams from Berlin to LA and Portland, and it's fun.
So yeah, thank you, Sam. So today I kind of wanted to talk about how I and other creators can put themselves out there as an emerging creative, just coming into the scene and all those things that we struggle with, all those scary things that we just have going on, and ways we can advocate for ourselves. So for me, personally, I want to really be able to receive collaborations without just using social media, but build an actual network of people in real time, in real life. So yeah, I just have a couple of questions for you.
Terrifying.
If you're fine with that.
Yeah, sure.
But one thing, obviously you're an agent, so I kind of want to know the benefits of having an agent, or things, ways you help the people that you support maintain having a social media platform as well as offline and online.
Sure. So I guess first and foremost, having an agent is not essential. Not everybody should have an agent. It's kind of something that's right for some, not right for others. Everyone's different. I think there's a lot of people out there who are illustrators, artists, image makers who enjoy every aspect of what they do. So it's not just creating the art, but they enjoy the marketing of their art, they enjoy the invoicing, they enjoy the chase of the money, they enjoy the back end of it. Yeah. So I think there's folks out there that I've worked with over the years that's part of their creative lives. There's other people who just want to make art. They just want to make creative things and have a partner, which is what an agent's role is, who can help enrich their creative practice, grow them, potentially help their practice evolve into something and have a longevity attached to it. So what we do as agents is, obviously we get to know someone, and there's mixtures of ways of finding an artist. Obviously we're all creeps and live on the internet and we're looking around. We also come to a lot of shows, a lot of graduate shows, or I guess you're not a graduate at that point.
Last year.
Yeah, whatever you are, those things. So yeah, we go to a lot of shows. Again, lots of online research, what the agents do. We talk to each other. We're always looking out to see what is the next thing that's happening, what are we seeing in the marketplace. And again, part of our role as agents is to feed that back to our artists as well. So we have regular check-ins. And again, the way we work it is every agent represents everybody.
Oh, okay.
So an individual that's represented, or a studio, by the way, we get on to another question, but it technically has about 10 agents, each person with a different opinion, but also a collective of 10 people that talk to each other and have a focus, which is to make that person more money or to grow their career, and help them expand their universe. So we all talk to everybody a lot. So it's almost like having work colleagues. You've got other people to talk to moan at, to cry with, to celebrate with, to, all that. But, we still haven't coined a better way of doing it, but we also do a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of people.
And
sounds really
that sounds
terrifying.
Really
yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So, strengths is oh my God, this is what you're doing. Everyone loves it. Clients always respond to these images or this kind of work. Yeah. Weaknesses, again, it sounds tough and hard. Is a little bit more focus around look, these are some areas you could probably develop, or maybe something we love doing is partnering people up. So if you're an individual, you don't know how to animate, we've got loads of people
that can animate. So they're building connections
exactly.
as well.
That's a huge part of what we do, putting people together. Because again, not everybody can be expected to know everything.
Yeah.
And I think again, what we've tried to build within our agency is this sort of sense of community. So it's like,
I think that's something like I would say artists do need. I think that's the main thing I learned from university. Now I'm out that space. I'm like craving for that community space. So that's one thing I'm trying to find now. As like postgraduate is those spaces again.
Yeah, but again, we've really like harboured that over the last few years. Like, well, I've been running B&A for 11 years. And that was one of the most important things for me at the start was like, I want everyone to know each other or have access to each other. Like, we're not afraid of the artists talking to each other. Like, we want that to happen. We do 2 events a year and it's become a bit like cousins, you know what I mean? People see each other, oh my God, I'm seeing you. It's like, you know, weddings, funerals, christenings and stuff. But, you know, those relationships have turned into quite fun stuff. Like, one of our artists met at one of our parties. One of our other artists runs a record label. He now releases this other guy's music, but then they've worked on music videos together. Like, it's just like, that's part of the agent's role is to connect you. Yeah.
How important is it to have like unique and recognizable styles for the client to see? Or, I mean, I hear people say maybe it's best to just tailor different portfolios or things like that. But what do you think on perspective? Someone does like a range of things and they're reaching out.
I think the most important thing is if it's someone that's going to give you money to do something, they don't want to be pressing the random button. So it's got to be, if you've organised your website or portfolio, whatever that is, it's got to tell a story. It's got to be something someone sees it and says, there's a thread here. I understand what I'm commissioning. I understand why I'm sending this person money. Sounds gross, but like, I think the minute it sort of gets a bit confusing or unclear, that's when someone might go, right, I need to go and talk to someone else. So I think having a unique voice is really important. I think the most important thing is ideas, like concepts work. Do you know what I mean?
So doing like, to challenge yourself to do like different briefs and...
It's just brains. Like, you know, I think most people can make a beautiful picture.
But like the thought process.
The thought behind it, it has to have a deeper meaning. Like, you know, it's got... But also the fact you can repeat that. So if you just got one mad, beautiful image and the rest of your photo that's completely something like something else, it's a nice experiment, but that's going to be challenging for someone to say, right, I'm going to spend 100 grand on this person to do my next poster campaign because they don't know what they're going to get. So I think it's good to sort of practice doing series, but I think ideas, just like for me anyway, ideas always win, like, because that's what illustration's used for, you know? It's like, I mean, actually, I guess post-COVID it's slightly different, but realistically, most brands or most people, if it's advertising, would want a photograph of their thing because they're proud of their thing. But the joy of the modern world is that so many things that we pay for now, they don't have a physical object. It's a method, or it's a service, or it's like something that's going to make your life better. So illustration and drawing or making imagery is perfect for that, because that's when you need to drop in ideas. Because there is no thing, so you know what I mean. You've got to create that world. So when someone sees it, like, I get it. Oh my God, like that's going to make my life better. Or I'm going to feel like that, or whatever. So
that's definitely
ideas
helpful.
always win.
So ideas always win.
Yeah.
Be clear.
Do your research. Yeah.
Cool.
Show process as well, by the way.
And process?
Yeah, I think process is really important.
Like within the portfolio?
I think so. At least have a section about that. Like, we've really found this last, for a long time, to be honest, like, that's what people are interested in, you know what I mean? It's like, they want to see that there's, again, some thought behind it. There's a process to that. Like, you know, if you've got a technique that you're doing, because the reality is that you want to have work that people go, I have to work with this person. And I think if you can show process and you've got a technique that either someone's not doing or you know, it resonates with a brand or a thing, like, for example, if someone's like, their thing's all about craft or taking time, if you're cutting stuff out and you're meticulous in the way you're doing it, or even your workspace, it's like, it's a certain way. People want to know who the artist is behind the work.
I think that we could get more into the whole like clients thing again, because I think that's obviously a major thing. We need to work with people. Definitely. And that's definitely something I want to do more of. But I want to know more about who's the typical client and within the illustration and image making industry.
Well, I mean, the most important thing to remember as a client is just another creative person. It's another creative person that has ended up doing a role which they've ended up doing. So they want to go home, have a nice time. They're not mean. They're not ogres. They're doing what they're doing. 99% of people are nice as well. I think that's the other really important thing. Like the person, it's like I said to you before, if you're getting in touch with someone showing them work, it's kind of their job to know about that if they're someone that commissions work, because they need to make sure they're aware of every different type of work. So I think it's really important to remember that a really good client-artist relationship can just bring a whole new level of work, particularly if you find a creative, like an art director or a creative director who you just ping together. It's their job to push you, but then also your job to push back a little bit on them. You know, you got to answer the brief, of course, but I think you got to, like, they don't want someone to just make something. They commission you for a reason. They want to work with you. But that's where you can really, like, over the years, I've seen so many really beautiful relationships where just brilliant art's made and it surprises both of you, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like someone sees something that I can see this, but have you thought about doing this? You know, I haven't actually. And that's something that's really exciting. So I think, but again, back to the research thing, like, think about the people or the things you want to do, hunt those people down. Like these days, like, you know, when I first was an agent, it was really difficult. Like, I used to just go to, like, record shops. I used to go into, like, magazine shops, like news agents, and, like, literally open them up, find out who the person was and try and guess their email address and stuff. Or phone a reception and be like, hello, I want to speak to an art director at this thing. Whereas now you guys got
just got LinkedIn, just type their name in.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not a fan of people getting in touch on LinkedIn personally because I just don't read those messages as much.
I've never had that experience though, and also I've never really thought to reach out to anyone on LinkedIn.
People
anyways,
do, for sure, but it always looks like a robot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why. So I've never been sure if I to open them or not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like an email. I love telephone personally.
Oh, do you like someone calling you?
Yeah.
Because I always hear mixed reviews about that. Like, some people obviously have their boundaries, so emailing. Sometimes you have loads of emails, or just getting a call like, hi. So how should we frame the call then? If I was to call you,
I'd be the same way. Like, hi, I'm an illustrator. I'm just about to send you an email. I think your whatever it is super cool, or I saw the thing. Just wanted to let you know, get in touch. Would love to work with you. Like, be a human. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing as well. Like, you can humanize who you are. You know what I mean? And I think it's the same as when you're getting in touch with someone. It's something, nothing more frustrating from my end anyway. Yeah, is when people don't put a telephone number on there.
I don't. Maybe when I get a work for
most people don't. It's crazy because
I just feel like. Obviously, I know. I think even though I have my email out there, which is public, something feels so vulnerable about
but website's different. I get it on a website, but if you're emailing someone and you've not met that person before, but you want to work with them, put your number on there because that person might phone up and be, hey, do you know what? I've got a brief for you right now.
Yeah, like, it's quicker. It definitely is quicker.
It shows an openness, I think, as well. Like, so I think sending an email without a telephone number on it directly to someone, again, different if you send it out to 10,000 people. If you send it directly to someone because you want that person to talk to you, let them talk to you.
What about handling difficult clients and negotiating fees and all that nitty-gritty stuff?
Don't ask, don't get. Do you know what I mean? I think there's reality. Again, telephone is a weapon of choice for that because as soon as it's a lot of people are very honest about the budget. It's not their money. You know what I mean? Like, on email, they're going to say a thing. You can phone someone up and be like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Like, do you think you could... Come on. That's what I always say. Everyone takes the mickey out of me for this. So I always say, can you just tickle that budget up a little bit? And they're like, how much? I'm like, I don't know, 30 grand. They're like, what? And I'm like, I'm kidding.
It's only 30K.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I think if you can get someone on the telephone, you can just show them a little, like, reality. Yeah. Minutes on email, it's in writing and it's blocked and it's locked down. And I think, you know, if you can talk to somebody about money, most people are honest about money. They're not trying to skank you. Really importantly, they're doing anything for free, of course. But, like, yeah, I think the one time you can get a client's telephone number is when they want something from you. So if they get in touch, say, hey, how are you? I've got this brief coming up. Is blah, blah, blah. Like, but there's no extra information. You can be like, look, amazing, really keen to work on this with you. What's your number? I'd love to have a quick chat. I've got a couple of quick questions, and then I'll follow up on email. And most people will tell you the truth. And if they I mean, whatever they say, I mean, that's the dance, right? They'll say, I've got this much. You say, it's not enough. And they'll be like, how much do you want? You say a number, and they're like, and then you're like, you meet in the middle. Like,
So have you worked across different industries then?
Yep.
So like publishing, editorial, film?
What does that mean? Was it
Like
movies and stuff?
Yeah, movies in
Yep.
terms of like,
Yep.
okay.
Do a lot of VFX.
How do they all like differentiate?
Everyone's different, yeah. So I think in general, the journey of an agent is that you kind of start on editorial because it's quite quick fire. And actually, weirdly, at the minute, a lot of us who've done this for ages are trying to do a bit more editorial because it's fun and it is quick. Editorial clients, it's much more snappy.
Okay, fast, like we need this
fast,
now.
Yeah.
So as a recent graduate now, I'm like trying to get into the industry. So, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm ready to take that stage of, getting an agent, but maybe in a few years' time, what is like maybe some red flags I should look out for?
Sure, yeah. Well, research again. Look at the roster. Does your work fit within that? Is the agent? This is a huge red flag for me. Is the agent want to meet you and your work similar to someone else? In which case, that's weird because they want someone to have a unique voice. They should have.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is you got to meet those people because hopefully with an agent you're going to be talking to them a lot.
Yep.
And you got to make sure you like them because that's really important. And you've got to have I would also make sure they've got a contract and an agreement that you're going to have together. A lot of agents don't have agreements, and I think it's challenging for some people because they're like, oh my God, it feels a bit serious. But actually, all a contract or agreement is, it's the rules for both of you.
Yeah.
Always refer back to it together. It's the fairness. It's protecting the artist. It also protects the agent as well. It's a bit of both. So I'd always make sure the agent has an agreement. But yeah, the biggest red flag for me is just if you don't like the person, and that sounds like a bit ambiguous, but you got to make sure you like that person, and because you're gonna have to trust them
to find you work.
Yeah.
So then, so obviously the agent finds the contacts, and then do you just leave them afterwards with the client? Like how does it go? What stage do you kind of just goodbye and then come back later to check in?
Yeah. So. No, we don't do that. But I think, again, the important part of the client is it's kind of the agent's job to have that relationship with the client.
Okay,
so that's what we do. So it's I've got 24 years of knowing people and stuff like that. So, and that's because I can read the room, you know what I mean? So if I'm on a call or I'm talking to someone, I'm like, I know you. This is there's something sneaky going on here. Or I've got that relationship while we're on a call together with an artist and then they text me on the side, So it's the agent's role to have a relationship with the client so that they can act on your behalf.
Okay, yeah.
So what we do, all of our projects, artists are in direct contact with the creative people, and we have 3 threads. So we have a creative thread in the middle, and that is where all the beautiful things happen. Everyone's happy and having a great time. And that's where you, as an artist, are talking directly to the client. They're briefing you there. You're sending the work on there. There's feedback on there. And then there's 2 threads either side, and those are the ones where all the action happens.
Okay.
So you have one, which is what our artist thread, and that's us and you. And that'd be because we're on the CC for all the messages. So it's our job, again, to make sure everything's running smooth, the deliverables there's no scope creep, i.e. they're asking you to do things that we hadn't agreed to.
Okay.
Or there's not too many rounds of amends, or there's just some mad weird thing in the middle of it that's whoa, rewind.
We didn't ask for that.
So on that thread with the artist, that's us just checking in, hey, look, I just saw that, is everything okay? Or it might be you saying, whoa, that feels weird, we didn't say that, can you check in with the client? And then when I jump over to the admin thread, that's where the other magic happens. That's just agent and the client. So that's where we deal with contracts, that's where we deal with money, that's where we deal with problems or happy things. We've got in-house lawyers, and unfortunately that's become more and more important these days because there's some odd things happening on legalities. So we've got 5 full-time lawyers, and they work on us for everything from NDAs, which are non-disclosures, which have become a battleground, because we work on just the straight-up contract side of things, because most projects have got a contract these days, and that's something that's also really important to ask up front if you're doing it yourself. Is there a contract attached to this project? And then we also have our own terms and conditions, so our terms are written by our legal team, obviously in line with all the kind of industry standard ones. They're always evolving as well. So, for example, we've got new language in there around AI and protecting everyone's work against imagery being used to train AI systems.
Do you any like platforms, resources, or anything that about like contracts, the law?
AOI is amazing.
AOI,
yeah, the AOI Association of Illustrators.
Yep.
They're brilliant. They're really, really good. We've got our agents. So some of the agents do mentoring through the AOI. In fact, actually, Matthew and I have sat about a metre away from each other for the last 10 years. I met him at the AOI. Poached him.
I have an account with them.
Yeah, they're great.
Our course gave us a free account afterwards. Yeah,
they're great. Brilliant resource. They're definitely fighting the fight, and you know they use us, the agents, to help that as well. So yeah, AOI definitely.
So when it comes to like the contract and dealing with like the client and the creative you're helping out, like who is the main person you have duty of care for? Because obviously the client needs to get their work, but also the artist is, you know, having their labour and creating the work. So how do you kind of fall in the middle of that and make sure both parties are, you know, getting respected?
Yeah, our job is to protect the artist. So you know, you're our partner. That's who we're working with. Again, it's the agent's role to know the client well enough, hopefully, to be able to have the best terms. I mean, something we have as an agency, we've been around for 40 years. We've got preferential terms with most of the big like companies in the world. But again, pretty solid legal backup to protect the artists. I think there's nuances to every contract, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but then also sometimes we do say to people, you shouldn't be doing this, it's a bad idea. But it's then the artists, like, it's up to them as well.
Okay, they get like the final.
So it's up to us to make it clear enough that it's the artist's decision whether they want to take something on or not. We would never force someone to do something. People say no, do you know what I mean? We're very clear, like, you do not have to do everything. Obviously that's a nice position to be in. If you're at that point where you're saying no to stuff, great. But yeah, no, it's like always the artist's choice whether they want to do something or not. I think something else that's really important to do is to get an understanding of what you're asking the agent to do for yourself. So go do it yourself. Try. Like, do the outreach, get in touch with clients that you've dreamed to work of, negotiate some projects yourself, look at contracts yourself, so you get a real understanding of, like, I'm going to partner up with an agent who's going to progress my career, but it's good for you to understand what you're asking them to do. You know, I think that's really important to do that, to get that experience.
Thank you so much to our guests, and thank you for listening to UEL Gradcast, real stories from UEL. We hope we managed to motivate you to take your next steps or simply take comfort in the fact that you're not alone in this. Until next time, if you really liked this episode today, please look in the description box and Sam's links and all that kind of stuff will be there for you.